Before we begin, I just want to say that this thumbnail was drawn by user FunkyRod. That's right, FunkyRod. Go follow him on Twitter. Link is in the description. Welcome to the Onemanshowoff podcast, where everyone is sensitive except for us. Today, we have a friend that I've been talking with a lot who's gonna start YouTube, but he's such an interesting guy to talk to that I feel like an episode with him would be really neat. His name is Poyo, but what else would you call yourself?
You can call me Papa Boyo, that's fine.
Papa Poyo. That's really nice. So anyway, how the fuck did we meet?
How did we meet? From what I remember, we met through a mutual friend on a different server, and then you seemed alright, so I just started bothering you until we became friends.
Yeah, you've been bothering me being all like, a Trent, more like get bent, Trent, more like tent, Trent just bullying me relentlessly.
Trent, you forgot Trent, more like just pay your fucking rent.
Yeah, you're right, I never pay my rent. Maybe that's why my wife left me. Anyway, anyway, you've been talking to me, insulting me, saying a bunch of plays on my name, but the more we talk, the more I find out that you're a very insightful person. We got from talking about femboys to fucking psychology. How did we get here?
Honestly, that's just human life in general.
Really?
I mean, where do people go from anywhere, right? That's what I always think about it. Not to sound like a hippie, but that's normally how I go from things. Is typically when it comes to relationships, people typically just get once they get comfortable with somebody, that's when they start to show their true colors in a sense. And for me, well, my true colors is as I went to college for psychology, and I'm interested in it, So once I found out that you were interested in it too, or at least you had a somewhat interest in it, that's when I decided, hey, I might as well tell them what I know. After all, that's
okay. I just want to preface this by saying that I know this kind of sounds like a goof and gaff because like Poyo loves to play it up sometimes, but the guy legitimately has a bit of a background in psychology. In fact, did you went to college for it?
Yeah, I did for a bit. I didn't go too far. I mostly was getting my general shit done. But the problem is I don't do well in school environments for a reason that you can relate to, actually, but there's also a lot of other reasons that I typically just don't do well in school.
Okay.
So it got to the point where it became too much, and I had bills, so I just stopped going, and then once my GPA had fucking tanked enough, I just decided it was better just to get a job, and I've been working since then.
All right. I've always been interested in just how people react to things and how and why they think. I've just been trying to understand everything and solve problems. How did you personally get into psychology?
That's a bit of a long story. Where do I start? Well, for one, I think I might as well start at the very beginning. Well, when I was a kid, I had to go through a lot of trouble because as you know, I am actually autistic, and I have a lot of other mental health problems, and I didn't exactly come up from the greatest place and the greatest people, so I had a lot of challenges going on as a kid. And since I was going through so much, that takes its toll mentally, especially on younger kids. So you typically have to, at some point, just sort of start dealing with your problems your own self, because you know how the people who are responsible for you, your parents, your teachers, i.e., fucking any adult that's supposed to be taking care of you, they typically won't be able to solve your problems too well if they don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. And that was the main problem I had when I was growing up, is just I was going from doctor to doctor, and they were constantly like, oh, he has this, oh, he has that, oh, he has blah blah blah, just pumping me with enough drugs to make me normal, basically.
My god, just carelessly giving you all this stuff because they don't know how to deal with you?
Oh yeah, like
or they don't want to deal with you.
if I could get you a list of like all the things that I've been diagnosed with, like I've had ADD thrown at me, ADHD, like I've had so many things thrown at me to the point where it's just, and it got really hard because when I was a kid, like I felt this strong feeling or this general idea of myself that there was something wrong with me, which didn't help because Trent, you're muted.
Yeah, I know. I was typing to friend something, but carry on.
Oh, sorry. Where was I? Oh yeah, I had this general feeling that there was a lot wrong with me because because I had so many people telling me like, oh, you have this, oh, you have that, that it became very hard for me to actually find out what exactly was wrong with me, because I had so many people giving me so much shit, so many people telling me so many different things that I just couldn't take it anymore. So at some point, I just got frustrated and was like, you know what? I'm just gonna figure it out for my damn self.
I
And-
Man,
for my
I think that was with me where I had to have like me figuring out everything was just like a me. I think that's happened with me where I didn't understand anything, so I had to figure it out myself because throughout your life, everyone tends to assume you understand by a few social cues that you were never informed of to begin with. Like I know autism is like, oh, they can't pick up social cues. Well, it's even harder once you don't even know what the social cues even are. Like they don't teach you these social cues. Sometimes they teach you social cues that don't even exist.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, definitely. Like that. I understand completely what you mean. A lot of the times, and it's sort of an issue of the times, honestly. Like I think that's a big problem when it comes to caring for somebody who has disabilities or somebody who, if they can't figure out if they have a big disability, have something obviously confronting them in their mind, but they typically don't know what to do. Like just people who should, like the doctors and the parents and all that, because it's relatively, if you think about it, mental health is still a new concept just in general.
yes.
I mean, not too long ago, one of the ways to solve it was with lobotomy and shock therapy, and that's and those were, like, we can look at that now and wonder what the fuck was wrong with people. How can they think that that was okay? It was never okay, but back then they just thought it was an answer, which is the problem. And
They don't want to be responsible, honestly.
nobody wanted to be responsible. That's another problem back then, is nobody wanted to be responsible. People were ignorant, they didn't know. And now that they know better is when there's like this resurgence of people like, oh, there's actually other methods to help people who have autism aren't just fucked from the get-go, you know what I mean? Or people who are born with disabilities aren't just fucked from the get-go now. Like there's
Yes.
actual ways to solve, like,
Yeah.
and hopefully that happens a lot sooner with medication, because if don't I could go on a whole rant about medication, but for now let me just continue with the question at hand, is how I got into it. Well, that was one of the main reasons, and the other reason is coming up I was just always interested in how people's minds work in
Mm-hmm.
general. Like it's a little shameful to admit, but when I was a kid, I was quite the bully. Honestly, I was a
But like
oh
you were a bully in a sense that you would just see what happens from your
yeah,
actions rather than like you didn't really like enjoy like making people suffer, did you?
no, it wasn't that. It was more. Now when you say that, do you mean like did I enjoy fucking with people? Yeah, I enjoy fucking with people. Do I enjoy making people cry? No. Do I enjoy hurting people? No, no, none of that. Do
I
I
Now that I
enjoy?
think about it, there really are two types of bullying. There's like the kind where you're screwing around with someone and the kind where you're just actually making them miserable. Because the kind where you're screwing around someone, like, does that really have a mental effect on anyone? Because all you're really doing is like um
It really
making some
could.
you're
It
like but you're like gaslighting in a sense where like someone says, yeah, my dad does band practice, and then someone says, oh, your dad does dildos. No, my dad does band practice. Yeah, he does dildos. Like that's like that kind of I don't know what kind of effect that has on kids, but what do you think?
That's actually quite a bad effect to have on kids, to gaslight them like that. Typically, you want to make sure that they understand that you're screwing with them, because if you don't, then that sounds weird. That's a weird sentence, screwing and kids.
Oh man.
No, but
Um,
really, it's with kids, you typically want to make sure that they're in with the joke, and that you also don't want them to be under too much pressure to
yeah.
follow in with the cue, because if they're not comfortable with the joke, they need to be able to express that. But kids don't normally do that. Kids normally try to just go with the what the cool kids are telling them, what's popular, what will make them friends, you know what I mean? And
Yes.
that's actually a big issue when it comes to children. And the problem is, when I was a kid, I didn't care. So it was, yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, as a kid, I typically I would do certain things to like enact a reaction or
Mm-hmm.
invoke a reaction out of somebody. And then when I would do these things, I would always wonder, why am I getting away with these? Like,
Oh.
why don't they
Oh.
just tell the teacher? Why doesn't the teacher do anything about it? Why am I allowed to behave in this matter?
I
And
think it's because they feel like snitching is a bad thing because some kid early on told them that it was bad, and they don't want to look weird for telling people stuff.
typically it was because the teachers wouldn't do shit. Typically,
Oh yeah.
that's typically why. It's because the people responsible wouldn't do shit. That's I think I learned a lot of my morals in life because of that. It's just because there was a lot of shit I got away with that I shouldn't have been able to get away with. And at some point when I was like, let's say like fucking like fourth grade, no,
Uh-huh.
maybe third grade, that was when I stopped, because I was just a kid. you know
Uh-huh.
I couldn't have been much older than like or like 8 when I was like, you know what, this is stupid. Because I reached I reached an impasse when I was a child. I was quite lonely.
Mhm.
It was a lonely life, that one. And
Yes.
so that was another reason why. It's just I've always been generally interested in how uh people people react to things, what exactly makes somebody minds click, you
Mhm.
know. And then another thing I realized as a kid was that I had a sort of, I don't want to say talent, but definitely a knack for figuring people out and what they're about. Just
Mhm.
if I spend enough time with somebody, I'll tend to understand how they work.
That's
And
why I've always said that you're kind of like a stern Mexican dad that knows what's up.
basically, yeah, because people show a lot more of their true colors than you would think, especially when they do certain things. Like, if a person acts shitty all the time, then more than likely they are a shitty person. But sometimes there's generally a deeper meaning behind those shitty reasons that you can find, and then suddenly you find out that the only reason they're shitty is because they have so much problems going on mentally, and they have nobody to turn to. They have
Yes.
nobody that they can relate to, nobody that they can solve this problem with.
Yes, they never open up. Like it's I guess many shitty problems happen because they don't know how to open up.
Yeah, that happens quite often. It's pretty sad, but it's sad, but it's just life. I don't know
All
how
right.
else I can say it. It's just life.
It's but there are ways to like I solve problems. That's why we study psychology to try to solve some of these internal problems people have that they don't even realize.
Yeah, that's the beauty of psychology. Is there's there's a thing to be said about your physical health. Being active, being healthy, eating the right things, making sure that you're not gonna give yourself problems down the line. Just
Mhm.
there's a saying about that. But one thing a lot of people don't notice is how important your mental health is. And again, that's something that I can blame on the just the fact that mental health has barely become a thing that is recognized as something that's important. Something that is just as important as your physical health.
Do people
Because
just disregard mental health? Do people just disregard mental health as like a thing that mainly crazies go through, like the Joker, or at
yes,
least Jared
exactly.
Leto's Joker?
No, no, exactly. Like it's a very popular idea, like just like in the 90s and the early 2000s. Like, that's just around the time it started. It was happening, like or it started changing, I would say, around the 2000s, but mostly like just as early as the 90s. If you were somebody who went through therapy or somebody who had to see a therapist or something along those lines, then you were considered a crazy person, like you had something wrong with you, because God forbid you have something that you're dealing with mentally.
You're not part of the nuclear family, therefore.
Yeah. Or normally it was something like you're against, you got the devil in you or something like that. That's normally what it was like back then, when things were a lot more religious than they are now.
Speaking of religious, I think before doctors became doctors, they used leeches to suck the evil out of you.
Basically, I mean, it's sort of like that. It's like people just thought that that's what worked at the time, and and people used to think that just ignoring your feelings until they go away worked. But no, then you grow up and you're super racist and you're a piece of shit, and and everybody's just waiting for you to die.
and God remember when doctors recommended cigarettes in the 50s?
Yeah, it's people just didn't know any better. It's just people didn't know any. That's why I always attribute that to they just didn't know better. Now
Speaking
they know better.
speaking of mental things, you say you're autistic. So am I. So this is going to be an interesting talk. What has that been like for you?
Hold up, actually, you know what? Give me just a second. Like, I'll be right back. Just give me like 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, autism. We both have it. What was it like for you?
Well, when I was a child, I was referred to as the Grand Autismo, and everybody would bring me sacrifices. Where, no, well, I imagine it's rather similar to what happens to a lot of people. I just had to go through the special classes. It was actually what actually got me there was interesting, is because I kept acting up in school, so I just so it got to the point where I got expelled, actually, because they they were just sick of me. They ended up expelling me from the school I was going to around like the fourth grade. It was when they expelled me, and so I had to go into like the special classes for years, and I was there until high school, in which they tried to fuck me over by putting me in them again. But my ma, God bless her, had raised enough hell that they didn't, so I didn't have to go through that as in high school.
So like I dealt with special classes too. Did you also deal with special students that were a bit low functioning than you?
Oh, definitely. Like, I've had to deal with this. I won't no. That sounds so mean to say it like that. The way I see it, I was with people who understood it, which was what made me feel. Well, that's in fact that was where I changed a lot as a person, where I wasn't as angry, and I wasn't as cruel, because as a child I was very cold and I was very cruel, but I was very just closed off to people in general. But when I met people who could understand what a lot of issues I was dealing with were there, I came out a lot more as a person. That was actually where I became a pacifist, because I couldn't stand the idea of hurting people anymore. So I just and I had to do, and I was in there for years, like until, like I said, until high school, and from there I had to mingle with a lot of people of our variety. Like I've met people with, who got like Down syndrome, people who got like Asperger's, things like that, and they got like bipolar people, like all types. Got a bunch of it ranged from things like low functioning autism to like what I would have, and then or something as small as just like dyslexia, which I also have, but something as small as that, to just complete case Down syndrome, like at a worst case scenario Down syndrome. That's like the range of people I would be. For me, it was mostly like the high functioning people. So it was mostly just reading disabilities, autism, bipolar, things like that, which was a lot of screaming. I mean, that goes without saying. It was a lot of screaming, but I mean, I met a lot of good friends there. Like that,
there were some cool people I knew in special ed, but some of them just kind of drifted apart. But one guy I know,
Yeah, me too.
he actually yelled at someone to burn in hell because he was playing with this hourglass thing during a board game we were playing. He was very weird, and he was like a Living Stooges character come to life. He even slapped me one time.
Oh yeah. Oh what? Yeah. The like. No offense, but that's like that was like daily shit for me.
Oh no. No.
Because it was also kind of a ghetto school, and that's actually a huge problem I have in general when it comes to special classes. It's not the special classes, not the people in them, or well, not the special class in general. It's just where the range goes for special classes. Like a lot of people, I found out what they'll do with a lot of the high functioning classes is they'll put in people who are just stupid, like
Yes. Yes.
people who just don't want to go to school or something,
Oh.
like
Oh.
just ghetto ass people who don't want to,
Oh.
like who got nothing wrong with them, they just don't want to be there, so they put them in those classes. Like I had that a few times. Like
But
it was rare, but it was like every year I have like one or two people who are just too fucking hood for school, so they would.
that is the funniest thing I've ever heard. That they felt like that being hood was a mental problem.
Seriously, honestly, it was kind of hilarious. Well, I mean, shit, that's kind of how I ended up there. I mean, besides all the other things, that's one of the reasons I ended up there. It's just because I was a troublemaker, so they just threw me in there.
God, imagine if a bunch of hood troublemaking kids just pretended to be dumb just to go to special ed so they didn't have to do much work,
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. That's probably what some of them did.
and they get to hang out with the hot teachers there. That was okay.
I mean,
Okay.
one of my teacher's assistant was a model, so
Oh, really?
yeah, I'm not bullshitting you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My assistants. Oh my god, I wish I had a model assistant. I had assistants that would scold me for biting my nails, even though everyone else bit their nails.
This one guy, he called one of the TAs he called them a, let's just say that they were African American, and they didn't say the nicest word to them.
What?
They actually,
What?
the TA actually flung their shit. It was
Oh
good
my
stuff.
god!
Yeah, it was a good.
That's even
They
more
like
crazy
threw
than.
their they threw
Yeah.
them out. It was like,
And
because like he hit the door, and like he hit the doorknob, so that shit hurt. I was like,
holy fuck!
that's what you get.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you get. Yeah, he got expelled. Oh, I missed that guy.
Because
No, I
he
don't.
called
He
the
was a piece
teacher
of
the
shit.
N word.
Yeah.
Holy shit! That's crazier than this time. Like this isn't actually special ed, but there was a kid in high school who threatened to take a shit in tech ed because the teacher told him he was going to the bathroom too much.
That's so stupid. I hate when teachers are like that. Like let the bro use the bathroom. Come on.
Wait, really? Because I thought he was just like not even actually going to the bathroom. He was just skipping class.
Well, I mean, he really he proved it to you, didn't he? Took a damn shit on the floor.
He actually no, he didn't. But like the teacher,
okay.
no, he threatened to take a shit in the classroom. But what I found funny is that the teacher was just smiling because the kid was in trouble. So
that's fucked up.
yeah. Also, tech ed class was a class that a lot of students didn't like because they thought it was liberal propaganda because the teacher said global warming is real.
As a kid?
It was high school.
Weird.
Yeah, for some reason, yeah, I went to a very half conservative, half liberal kind of school. It was the school that Donald Trump spoke at before he became president.
Oh, wait, wild.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of my schools were pretty ghetto, so I
Yeah.
don't know where they would lie. It was.
I
Just
don't have a
lot.
ghetto school. I have like I have a millennial redneck kind of school.
Of course,
Where
white boy. No, I'm just kidding, man.
yeah, it's the whitest shit you'll ever see, and it's like they think they're so cool because they show me pictures of fat people via email, which actually did happen.
Well, you know I'm Mexican, so I'm not good enough for that. No, I'm just kidding.
You're not good enough to be fat. I mean, there are fat Mexicans, aren't there?
No, I meant fucking like white people schools.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
White people schools.
White people schools.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
White people be like, am I right?
Mexicans be. We never saw Mexicans be like Vines, do we?
Oh, I've made some before for
Really?
sure. Because here, like we got a good sense of humor out there. So we got like there's some good shit. Like there's
You were part of Vine?
no, I wasn't part of Vine. I just meant like jokes like that in general.
Oh, okay.
Like if I could find one exactly, I know this one that that I'll always have in my heart. I don't know where it is at the moment, but I'll always have it in my heart because it was like there's four types of Mexicans, and it was like it was just like your run of the mill cholo guy, which I used to look like. It had like a guy who looks like a football player. It had a
Football.
it had another guy that was just like a dude that was just like everybody's uncle, everybody's Mexican uncle who they just looked
Okay.
like that. And then there was a
Uh-huh.
fourth guy which pissed me off because he looked like me. I was like, "Fuck,
Man,
that's me!"
they're on point sometimes.
Like, damn it!
Uh-huh.
I was like, that looks just like me, except he was a
Anyway.
lot darker.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Anyway,
Anyway, you said you wanted to do YouTube. What's stopping you?
what isn't stopping me? Let's see. I just don't. I have trouble finding the motivation to do it at all. It's like a lot. Like it seems like a lot of work in general. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it's like it's this and this. No, it's just mostly just lazy.
Honestly, I'm considering if I ever want to make a video talking about stuff, I really shouldn't have to rely so much on visuals. So I don't know why every fucking review on everything has to be super visual heavy when I could just have like a single image and be done with it. Like, do people not like podcasts that much?
Uh, I think it's because podcasts are still. Well, I would say that people just aren't as into podcasts. I think podcasts are still becoming like the thing that people are becoming
Yeah.
comfortable with, you know,
Yeah,
because
I'm getting kind of tired of B-roll animated reviews where they have like a fucking they have footage of the cartoon playing in the background, but they just have the characters talking while you're talking.
I
So I'm
think
not.
I think what I miss the most is I think what I see the most is just like gameplay, you
Yeah,
know, just
yeah, I'm
like
getting kind of
playing a
tired of
video
that
game in
too,
the
and
back.
speed draws because it's like they don't even
People have
have
been
anything to do with like the foot.
people
This
were
the
uncomfortable with that since like 2017.
really.
People were sick
Wait,
of that for a while now,
wait.
like
What was
2019.
2007? Was 2017 when Leafy was a new thing?
Uh, I think he was more of a 2019 thing, wasn't he?
No,
I don't remember.
no.
No, 16, 16.
Yeah, because like fucking,
I
I
meant
remember
16.
2016, fucking We Are Number One, B movie,
B
Nutshack.
movie, not Shaq.
Those were the dark years.
Why didn't Jake Paul film that guy in the four? No, Logan Paul.
Yeah, it was
That
Logan
was Logan
Paul.
Paul. Yeah, that was Logan Paul. It was
Also,
piece of
now
shit.
that we mentioned Logan Paul, I just want to rant about YouTube for a little bit because I feel like that if you're
Well,
not
now that
Logan Paul, then you have no chance of being successful.
now that we mentioned Logan Paul, you can put him in the tags for the video, right?
Yes.
We've
You know
done
what?
it. We've gotten money.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
We've
that. Yeah,
achieved money.
yeah, I'm gonna do that. Fuck you, Logan. Anyway,
Put 50 B-roll ads throughout the video.
this video is sponsored by
This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legend.
I was gonna say Poyo's Taco Stand.
Poyo style, yeah. Yeah, I
Would
got a
you?
restaurant coming out my house, bitch. Come pass by, get you some good food.
That is the most. God, is
Got a
it?
restaurant in my crib, bro. Come by.
Why do I feel like that's the most Mexican thing?
That is because that's what happens over there. Like
They like literally rent out their homes and turn it into a restaurant.
they don't rent it out; they just make their house a restaurant.
Oh my god.
No, yeah, because why rent out a fucking building when you could just be like, hey, I bought some tents, I got my kitchen set up all good. Let's just make food and sell it to people. That's what happens.
Wow.
That's what happens.
That's like that's like a very poor way of doing it, but man, they struggle and
That's
they know how to deal with it.
it's very popular in Mexico. That is like that is your if you walk down the street, you're gonna run into a restaurant like that. That's how it happens.
Oh
Like
my
it's
god.
just it'll be just somebody's house. Like it'll be straight up just like that. Most of the time, it's outside of their house, but typically, but sometimes you'll have the rare thing where it's like somebody has converted the entire bottom floor of their house into a restaurant. Like that.
Do they?
That was something I saw over in Cancun when I was over there visiting
Are
some
they?
families.
Are there any like baby photos like hung up in the houses where people can see? So it's really
Especially,
embarrassing for the
yes,
so no.
especially if it's a grandma cooking. Because if it's an abuela, oh my god, don't get me
Oh,
started. They'll not only will they serve you the food, they'll talk about their whole fucking family while you're there. Like,
that is adorable, but
yeah, it's adorable.
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, but you know what? Family's really big out there, so it's not
Uh
a
huh.
surprise. Um,
God, God, I learn a lot
especially with
about
the
I learned a
older
lot about
generation.
Mexican culture from you that I wish fucking media would really touch on.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I'm find it surprising nobody really talks about those because that's like a thing that just started happening here in Cali. Well, before Corona, but like there was just oh shit, I mentioned Corona. There goes your ads again. Nah, I'm just fucking with you.
I
I'm just fucking with
barely make a lick of
you. Yeah,
scent on
yeah,
here, so we're fine.
yeah. But I was saying is that was just a thing that barely started happening here in California is people being allowed to make a restaurant out of their homes. Um, that's just it barely started this year. Like that was barely a thing that was allowed this year. Um,
Wow.
so
Mhm.
people started popping up with their houses becoming Yelp places where it's like, hey, come by my crib, I'll make you fucking tortas agados.
Holy
I fucked that
shit.
up. I'll make you burritos and shit. Come by taco
That
fest.
is I
Um,
just want churros.
yeah, churros. Oh my god, there's this fucking place not too. Well, it's a bit of a hop and a skip for me, but there's like this place in the ghetto that they started selling they start selling churros that have like filling in them because
Mm?
um that's one of the things that's wrong with this country is our churro game is very ugh.
Oh man.
Don't get me started on our fucking churro game. We are weak in this country like that. I would say one of the biggest failure of us as the American people is our churro game because in Mexico we got like churros that have like caramelo, like they got like caramel in them. We got ones that got like strawberry. They're like covered in sugar, like no, not like the sugar they're normally covered in. But they're like covered in different types of sugar.
Mexican
They got
sugar.
like frosting in them. Oh well, that's another difference in Mexico is we have actual sugar.
Holy fuck.
Here in Mexico, everything. I'm here in America, everything's corn syrup and shit. Over there, nope, we don't fuck with that.
Man, I want to one day travel to Mexico, but I'm not going to act like it's some paradise. In fact, is it like Detroit down there?
A lot of it, a lot
Holy
of it,
shit.
a lot of it,
Yeah.
a
So
lot.
that gets me kind of worried as like a hopping on in and just seeing the world.
I don't want to sound mean, and I don't want to be like, I don't want to be that guy who's just like, oh, but you're not welcomed here, or shit like that. Like, I definitely don't want to sound as that guy. But in Mexico, it's typically not. You're not. You typically will run into a lot of places where if you're white and American, you won't be very popular, to say the least.
Fucking gringos.
Basically, yeah, gringos. Like
There's an episode
especially with the police. The police really don't like Americans.
Oh no!
Like my buddy got pulled over. Him and his when they were over there. Him and his pal. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I don't know why they went without me, but they were driving along and they got pulled over for being white. Basically, that's what happened. That was
Man, this is
like
what happens when you get a view of the world outside of America. Things just
yeah.
are different.
It's like I always say, things are shitty everywhere.
Yeah. Uh,
things, are,
uh,
things are shitty everywhere.
Fuck, I
Yeah.
forgot what I was gonna. Oh yeah, there's an episode of X-Men Evolution where Cyclops is trapped in Mexico, and and the gang approach him saying, "Yo, gringo." They call him a fucking gringo.
Well, yeah, because he is.
I didn't even know that was. I didn't even know if that was okay.
Oh, well, that's a term you'll hear a lot when you're a tourist.
Oh, so it's not like it's not like Wigger for white people.
Whoa.
Listen,
No,
I'm
we
white.
don't
I can
say that.
say it.
We don't say that over there. No, we don't. We'll say a lot more. We'll say
No,
things along those lines, but
like you're saying gringo, but I'm saying fucking
gringo.
yeah. But it's not like the W word.
No, it's well, yeah, kind of. Just it basically just means like white American.
Okay.
There's another word for like Mexican Americans. I can't, for some reason it's escaping my mind right now. But there's another. It's something with a ch. I remember, but it's like
CH.
if you're called that, that's typically what it means. And it's like a Mexican who's been Americanized. You know,
I was
I
gonna
forgot
say I was
what it's
gonna
called.
think of Latin X, but that is a whole nother can of worms
Fuck
entirely.
you! Don't bring
Yeah,
that up. I hate
no.
that shit. I hate Latinx, Latino.
Yeah, fucking.
I have a lot of strong opinions about that, but that's
I
not what this conversation's about.
Yeah, you are very. Oh, I was gonna say pure blood. Never mind.
Yeah, I am pure blood Mexican.
Anyway, going back to psychology, I guess one way people are demotivated from doing YouTube is that they don't want to deal with problems that come with being a content creator, like depression and stress. How do you think people deal with that, and how would you deal with that?
You know what? That's an interesting thing to bring up. I almost forgot that this podcast was about mental health. No, but
We're talking about whatever,
yeah,
okay?
yeah. So stress is an interesting topic in general, especially. Well, I mean, it goes without saying, but especially in psychology, because you know, it's like I said,
Uh-huh.
mental health still a relatively new thing, still not exactly as well researched as it could have been. You know, there's plenty of good research, but there's not enough. I would always say we could always know more about it.
Mhm.
And one of the things that has came up rather recently is just exactly how stress works in the mind, and
Mhm.
what it does to your body. Oh, and
Mhm.
you know, this is going to be shocking to hear, but stress is bad.
Stress is bad,
Yeah,
okay?
it's real bad.
Okay.
It goes without saying, but a lot of people typically will just try to distract themselves or ignore the stress, which isn't a healthy way to cope with it.
Mhm.
What stress coping mechanisms are something that I, as somebody who studies psychology and somebody who would want to be a psychologist, you know, somebody who would want to be a therapist or something
Uh-huh.
along those lines, will have to learn to help deal with teaching the coping mechanisms, because it's still relatively lost on people for something that is relatively simple. It can be pretty complicated in general. Like, and to explain what I'm saying is, how we experience stress, it's different from person to person, but it's typically the same at the same time. And that's, in fact, that's what I would say for a lot of psychology and a lot of issues with the mind is it's the same, but it's also incredibly different when it
I experience stress from making a mistake and having to experience the consequences of that mistake. I'm so worried about repeating it again because sometimes I don't even know why I am who I am.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
I get
sometimes
that.
I make like weird loopholes to like justify some of the mistakes I made to like, oh, it's not a mistake because blah blah blah. But like morality is kind of funky sometimes.
Well, if you're afraid of making the same mistake over and over, then that typically comes from a place of self a lack of self-esteem in general.
Then
Especially if you've made a lot of the same mistakes before and
mhm.
you haven't really taken enough from it to fully learn from that experience, you know. So you got to just, if it happens again, you just got to keep remembering that this is something that I can learn from and that I genuinely need to learn from, because if you don't learn anything from it, then it's just a mistake that's going to happen again.
All right.
It's it's something that, but what was I saying? Oh,
I'm also worried that like people don't believe me when I say I learn from my mistakes because what if they're expecting me to fuck up again?
uh hold up. I'm trying to remember what I was saying earlier, because I think I actually left that off like on a cliffhanger.
Uh oh.
What was I saying earlier
You
about
were going on about like how
oh, dealing with stress.
yes,
Um
and remembering mistakes you made to make sure you don't
remembering.
repeat them.
Yeah, and that psychology is still relatively new when it comes to how people feel stress. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Uh let me get on that real quick. Stress, number 1, is as I said, the big bad. But the big problem with stress is it does a lot to your body physically as much as it does mentally that a lot of people don't recognize. which
Uh-huh.
actually makes it worse and puts more stress on yourself. Um, for one, stress not only like I said, doesn't only affect your mind, it also affects it also will affect, your weight, your health, your
Mm-hmm.
general health. I don't know why I'm rambling on about that one point. It's just your general health. Like if you're all stressed out during the day, it'll start to slowly take your toll on its body, because one of the things about stress is the more stressed out you feel, the more resources it requires from your body to
Uh-huh.
power through your day. It basically becomes harder to be alive when you're stressed out all the time. You
Yes.
become burnt out from it, and your body starts to feel it. It starts to feel fatigue from it.
That
it
is how I've been feeling as of late. I get tired
that's
and stressed over like fucking this possible scenario that I'm not even sure would happen if everyone just sort of if everyone just didn't if people weren't transparent.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember everything I've learned in school, because they could explain it a lot better than I can. But the
Okay.
the way I've had it shown to me is, um, stress will um stress will become a thing in your body, and what most people generally do is they try to find something to distract themselves, or they try to do something to
Yes. Yes.
keep the stress down. And what they don't realize is simply setting the stress aside for a second, or ignoring it at all in general, um, it won't help with that stress. It'll only build it up. Because one thing that okay, now I just remembered one thing that a lot of people do in general is like, hey, I work better under stress. Like I deal better under stress. Like for me, for example, I typically do better when I have a bit of stress put on me. Like
Do
I would.
you ever heard that song "Stress" by Jim's Big Ego?
No, I
It
haven't.
goes a little something like, "I'm addicted to stress. That's the way that I get things done. If I'm not under pressure, then I sleep too long and I hang around like a bum. I think I'm going nowhere, and that makes me nervous. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's
Well,
out."
that song's wrong. And let me tell you
What?
why it's wrong.
Yeah.
Now,
What? What? Poyo, what?
oh, sorry, it's because you said yeah, so I thought maybe somebody called you.
No, 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 please, please, but tell me, why is the song wrong?
um, actually, you know what? Can I invite some people, because my friends want to, um,
Oh my
they want to
god,
join.
yes, because I'll be honest, like the podcast chat here is kind of lackluster, and I would love to hear from your pals on what they have to
Everybody
say.
hates me. That's the only way, is everybody in your server they just don't like me. That's the problem.
What don't they like about you? Is it
They
because
don't
you're
like me because I'm Mexican. I knew it.
but
I knew it.
whatever. I thought they didn't like you because you were pink.
Why? Is it because I'm black?
I said pink.
Because I'm pink. Because I'm black.
And
Dumb shit.
hang on. Geek said he wanted to ask a question. Don't worry, you'll get there soon. And hey, Emmanuel here is a Latin American. So, but we'll have you guys ask a question like you know, like later down the line when I'm done with my topics. But yo, Poyo, uh, like what are you gonna try to send your friends the invite link?
Yeah, I've already have. I'm gonna see if they'll join. But like I was saying,
Okay.
stress. Now, having a bit of stress on you is good. It is good. Like
Yes.
some people, and for a lot of different people, they'll get different results from having a bit of stress pushed onto them. Typically they'll do better in a situation. Like, stress can be good. Stress can be good. It's a
Okay.
natural part of our body, so it has to be good. The problem is, not that every natural part of your body is good, but that it has its benefits. The problem is that people don't recognize is that stress builds up and it becomes too much. If you don't have a way to vent that stress, and you have a constant stress put on you that isn't dealt with in a healthy way, the stress will just build up and build up and build up, into the point where you can't handle the stress anymore, and it'll become too much for you, and you break
Yeah.
down, and then suddenly you can't talk about things anymore without crying. Like it.
As much as I think Steven Universe is a goddamn mess, it actually touched on that by the end of Future.
Yeah, which I thought was really Steven Universe talks about a lot of things. Uh I wouldn't say they talk about it super well.
Yeah, it's not subtle in a lot of the stuff they talk about, which is weird because it's like because this is a very very nuanced shit that they talk about. But man, I gotta give credit sometimes to a very weird show like that.
Yeah,
And
it
I
brings
really don't want to sound like
at least it's starting a conversation, but it's taking it in a weird direction. I would
yeah.
say that's why I'm not.
I really don't want to sound like those cartoon critics that spend like 2 hours ranting about why Steven Universe is trash. No offense, Cartoon She. But don't
All the offense, Cartouche.
sorry.
All the
Sorry.
offense. I take away the no offense.
Nice guy with a thick
I have
accent.
no idea who you're talking about.
He's a YouTube user that
Yeah,
Geek and Manuel are friends with.
I imagine, yeah.
A 4-hour video? Like, I've been joking about
You got
3
nothing
hours.
better to do, or like, no, just kidding. I'm kidding. Could you imagine? I wish that no, there's nothing wrong with being passionate about something. No, nothing wrong with being passionate about something.
I mean, all this like stuff, I'd rather like spend the time making my own media and just talking about the issues that SU talks about. Shit, dog.
I mean, I've considered going to giving Steven Universe like the runaround, you know, like watching it all in one, like all, and then just criticizing what they did right and praising what they did wrong and praising what they did right. But the only reason why I haven't is because, as we mentioned earlier, I'm rather lazy. And number two, everyone's done it. Everyone's done it.
Again, I'd rather like make my own media and stories that talk about stuff Steven Universe failed at.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that just for me? It's everybody's done it before, and I just don't. I wouldn't be.
My problem with those videos is that they don't really get into like talking about the psychology.
They don't go deep enough as they could. Yeah, like with the Steven Universe thing, with the ending or Steven Future, whatever flippity fuck it was called. They do talk about how like they bring up the very good, very important fact of all the trauma that that has been deep seated in Steven since
childhood.
Basically he was like born. You know what I mean? Like how much shit he's actually had to go through, which is a very true thing. A lot of people don't acknowledge, you know, it's just how much trauma a person could go through in a situation like that. Like living a life like Steven would be a fucking nightmare. It really would.
You know what? Steven Universe is really fucking long, but personally I recommend you watch Infinity Train. It's only like 11
Infinity
minutes.
Train is beautiful.
I love that 11 minutes long episodes in 3 seasons so far.
It is a gorgeous show.
They go over like so much deep shit that fucking Steven wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
I'm surprised you like that show, honestly.
I do, and I'm really upset that not many people know about it.
Yeah, I say it's because it's too good. I know that sounds weird, but my hypothesis is that the only reason why people don't like it is just because it's so good that they I sound like a fucking Rick and Morty fan right now, but it's just that people see it and they think it's too heavy and they think that they won't be able to understand it, so they just don't watch it. That's what I feel like it is.
Listen. They think it's too heavy when they talk about divorce. They talk about a lot more than divorce.
Yeah, it's like one of the first things they bring up in the first episode is how what's her name's coming from a broken home. I don't know how I forgot the main character's name.
Tulip.
Yeah,
Tulip.
That show is gorgeous. And
there's a fucking scene. There's a scene where she sings the song "Word Up." There's a scene where she sings the song "Word Up," and that I really appreciate that. You know, word up, y'all pretty ladies around the world got a ribbon.
Well, I was trying to make a JonTron reference, but I forgot it halfway through, so I was straight up. That's what it's called. The drug commercial.
Straight up. Oh no!
Freeze!
Fucking, you look like a snake. Anyway. Anyway, just hold on. I'm gonna tap into my inner chat.
Oh boy.
Let's say hypothetically, why are people so sensitive these days? No, but for real, I think we live in probably one of the most polarizing eras right now, and like, Steven Universe is talking about a bunch of touchy stuff, and everyone's saying how it misses the point, and then fucking people are misinterpreting like other cultures and races, especially when they're being progressive for some reason. Like, everyone has so many different opinions on everything, and it's like it's kind of scary.
That is a
Like,
good thing. That's a good thing to bring up, actually.
yeah.
Well, how do I put? There's only one way I can describe this. See, the thing is, a lot of people don't realize this, but we truly do
Live
live
in a
in a
society.
society. You know what I was gonna say?
I'm the Joker, baby.
I'm the baby. Fucking.
You
I'm
gotta,
sorry. I just love that joke. Fucking, we live in a society is the funniest.
yeah.
It's a fun.
Yeah,
It's
don't
funny
want
as
to
shit to me. But
told you.
yeah. Well, I've always seen it rather black and white. As most things is, there's a good reason behind it, and there's a deeper reason for this shit. But uh to describe it easily, the main reason why so many things are so different these days is simply because we're living in a time where it's so much easier to get your opinion out there in
Mm-hmm.
general, and people are closer than they've ever been for years and years and years. Like, we're living in a renaissance where everybody can just say what's on their mind to fucking everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a responsibility that a lot of people can't handle.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is there it comes with its good and it comes with its bad, because yes, we have a lot of at the same time, we're living in a time where everybody is more accepting of anything than they've ever been, like
Uh-huh.
like gay people can get married. Like, that's something that wasn't a thing just a few years ago, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's baffling to think about it now, but LGBT people couldn't be in a relationship without being seen as some sort of social pariah against God. So fucking you'd have fucking boomers going out there be like, these homosexuals going around ruining our communities, shit like that. That was a thing that wasn't too long ago.
And now you got people trying to mask their bigotry as skepticism, like, oh, I think the SJWs are exaggerating or something.
Well, honestly, like, I fall under the realm that a lot of people do exaggerate a lot of shit, in my opinion, and that comes from it comes from what I was saying earlier. Is we're living in a time where people are very accepting. People
Yeah.
understand each other a lot better. People will try to think. The problem is with that is, although it's good to be accepting towards everybody, and it's nice to, and it's very well that we're seeing people as human beings, not as what they are. There is a lot of people who are seeing those things and they're sticking to it, and that's it. Like, they think that, oh, the best thing we can do is to just be as sensitive as possible about everything
And
in
accept
general,
everything. That is.
and accept everything, and that's the and and
But
that's a
nobody
problem in
likes
itself.
maps.
Nobody likes maps, no.
Yeah. Uh,
Nobody likes maps, no. But what I was saying is,
maps make you sick.
yeah, sick, yes, but maps gave me corona, but
Mm-hmm.
fucking I don't have corona, by the way. I'm fine.
Yes.
There's I don't know how to. I really don't know how to say this. I'm ashamed of myself for lacking the verbal skills to communicate this in a way that doesn't make me sound like a fucking red-pilled fucking incel. But
Try your best.
what I'm trying to say is, let me give me a second to just piece my words together. You can cut this part out, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it's just I don't want a long awkward pause. A long awkward pause isn't exactly good material.
Yeah. Try your best. Try everything you can. Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Okay.
You're away.
Okay. So when it comes to how people are, they are the most accepting that they've been ever. But the
Mm-hmm.
problem is there's an over acceptance of things where not only can you have your opinion on things, but that is the right opinion always.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge problem these days, is that people surround themselves. It's so much easier to surround yourself in an echo chamber where just what you say is right always, no matter what it is, no matter what scientific fact there is behind it, no matter what no matter what socially acceptable fact there is behind it. There's always going to be people who surround themselves with yes men and yes people who are just like,
I
hey,
always believe
right.
that, I always believe in, like, racism is the most counterintuitive thing, like, ever, especially because we came from Africa, technically. But, but I think my problem with echo chambers is that they don't want to debate at all. They just want to have people just agree with each other on
Interesting
the
you
same
say that,
things. Yeah.
because that's actually just human nature in general. We don't like to be wrong as human beings.
Yeah.
It is physically proven that being wrong is painful for somebody. That is actually like that is not an opinion. That is not a pseudoscience. That is a thing that is true. Like it isn't a physical pain, but it sends off the right chemicals in our mind that makes us, that we would have if we were to experience pain. Like that is true. That's just truth right there. People in general don't want to be wrong about anything. That's just how people are. It's just that for some people, they can accept being wrong a little better than others. And even then, it comes from even then they will still have a stubbornness when it comes to their own opinion and to their own views, because it's like I said, people have never liked to been wrong. It's just that people are starting to accept that there can be other that there are other options a lot better now, but it's still a thing that happens. Some would say as bad. I just saw that Smeef changed their name to Fuck the French.
Oh no. Oh, speaking
Fucking
of
Smeef, get over here. Get him over here.
Speaking of racism, I'll add him.
What was I saying? I like Smeef's hair. I have no other reason besides I don't know him very well, and I've watched one of his videos, but I like his fucking hair.
Yeah. But
anyway,
yes, like fucking, it's really hard to own up because you feel like the mistake defines who you are, and it's like it just ruins a sense of pride and confidence. But anyway, Geek asked when we're going to be asking questions, so you know what? Let's do that.
Oh.
First, let's have Geek here ask a question if he's got anything. Come on.
Okay.
Greetings, gentlemen.
Hello.
What's up, fool?
So, hey, how's it going, Poyo?
About as shitty as usual. Why? No, just kidding.
Man. All right. First of all, thank you for perfectly describing. Like a few minutes ago, you perfectly described me in 2019. But apart from that, so I don't know, because you said like you studied psychology. I'm not sure if you're gonna know what I'm talking about, but like I kind of want to ask you something. So as you know, like we talked before, because I'm a moderator in the server for people who don't know, and I've kind of been going through like a small bit of YouTube thing called the people like to call imposter syndrome. What kind of advice can you give to a person who's actually going through this? Because I've actually had this kind of problem for like months now. It's over now, but like I might actually experience it again, where it just feels like I've been getting this kind of attention from people who I've never thought I've actually talked to, and now it's just kind of building up inside, saying like, oh, you can't do this, or you don't deserve that, and people are calling it just imposter syndrome. What kind of advice can you give to a person who's actually who's actually going through imposter syndrome?
To put it bluntly, fuck them. Not the people who are going through the imposter syndrome. People who are telling them what to do. Just like, and to be specific, when you do anything at all, especially when it's something that's as popular as YouTube, you're going to have people that are going to tell you what to do. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what you're doing. No matter what you're the shit at, you're always going to have somebody who's going to tell you what to do. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And the reason why I say that's not necessarily a bad thing is because this is where we learn things. This is where we learn this is where we get our ideas and what exactly our strengths and weaknesses are. Like it's like I always say, you always have room for improvement. No matter what you're doing, no matter who you are, no matter how good you are at something, there's always room for improvement.
We never stop improving
Always.
ever
Yes.
until we die.
So it's always good to have criticism coming your way, because if you don't accept that, then then you're just setting yourself up in an echo chamber, as I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And like I said, although that's good, and it's always good to have people that are giving you suggestions, giving you criticism. You're going to deal with people who are telling you what to do a lot of the time, just because either they've been doing it for so long that they already know the trade, they already know what's popular and what isn't popular, or they already know, or they think that you might be good at this or not be doing that. On the other hand, although that is good, you have to keep in mind that if you're comfortable doing something, you have to hold to that. You have to
Yes.
keep to that, because if you aren't comfortable doing what you're doing, you're going to hate it. You're going to dislike it, and you're going to get burnt out. That's what happens to so many YouTubers, and it's a goddamn shame. Because there'll be people out there who are genuinely talented in what they do, or have a genuine passion for what they do. But then they'll lose the passion because they have to get with the times. That happens a lot. It's
Yeah.
like with the new, like, how child friendly you have to be on YouTube these days. That burns a lot of people out, because they
Yeah.
can't just be themselves anymore. They have to follow the guidelines if they want to be paid. And that's an unfortunate circumstance that a lot of people manage to cope with, but at the same time, there's a lot of occasions where people just become visibly, or at least audibly, tired of it all, and people can see that. Like we were talking about earlier with the Game Grumps, I would say the Game Grumps have experienced that a few times throughout their channel, just because they've had to change so many times. And there's other channels that I could put an example on of, with that, like H3H3, like what's another example? Probably like Markiplier. There's people out there where they do. Oh, PewDiePie is a very, very popular example of that, because there was a time where he really got so fucking frustrated with the shit he was doing. And now that when he makes his fucking whatever he wants content, he's a lot happier about it. The PewDiePie is a good example of that. You see how happy he is making videos now, and that's because he already knows that he's on top, and there ain't shit anyone can do about it. As many times as he's been canceled, as many times he's been told what to do, and how many times he's been told who he is as a person, when he knows damn well what the type of person he is. There's going to be a lot of people who are like, he said the N word. So, and he understands that. So I would say, if you really need somebody who is a good example of that, it is definitely PewDiePie.
Yes.
Just if you're going through this imposter syndrome of people telling you that you're like this person, or that you are this person, and just it's as simple as, be confident in what you're doing. If you're enjoying what you're doing, then you're doing the right thing, as long as it is not hurting anybody.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you like the content you're making, but you feel like it has some room for improvement, then yeah, improve.
Hey, Geek, you know what will make you stand out?
Yes.
If you reviewed stuff that personally means a lot to you personally.
Oh,
that's kind of what I've been doing.
That's a
really?
very important thing when it comes to making videos. Is
I'm sorry, I also but to be honest, like I watched your romance videos and your video, and honestly, I think that was I was that about as personal as you could get, because you really care about relationships.
It's not really that not really that personal, but like it's not completely personal, but it's like a topic I'm really interested in. That's kind of what I've been doing on my channel recently.
Ooh, you know what? That's something you and I could actually talk about later, because although I wasn't into studies to become a marital therapist, I do have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge when it comes to relationships. Relationships is one of my forte.
Oh my god!
I've typically dealt with several different types of relationships, good and bad, and I mostly from the people I've been revolved around, because I've had bad relationships, not only myself but in just around me, basically my whole life, and
subscribe to Geek Tunes.
And I've had a lot of people are surprised with how knowledgeable I am with what to do in a relationship, just because they're like, you haven't been in a stable relationship your whole life. And I'm like, and where do you think I learned this shit from?
Yeah.
Like,
so, all right.
Don't get me started on the fucking hose I've been with. I'm just kidding.
But Geek, listen. What he's trying to say is that fucking just do what you want regardless of what other people think.
Yeah, that's kind of
as
what I've
long
been
as you're not
doing.
hurting anybody, and as long as you're constantly trying to improve, you're not in a place where you're thinking that you're the absolute best at what you're doing. Always try to improve and do what you do. Do what makes you feel comfortable and what you enjoy. Then
Yes.
you'll truly enjoy your job. Because then, if you just do YouTube like that, then it's just your fucking job. It's just
Yeah.
your fucking job. It's not.
It'll
Yes.
just end up being like a chore.
Yeah, it's just a chore. It's
Thankfully, YouTube. I don't make money off of YouTube. I'd rather make a job
yeah.
for now.
Fucking. Well, it's just. I was gonna ask a personal question, but I don't know if it's best for here.
It's. I mean, like, I do plan on like getting like a bigger job later down the line. It's just for now, a minimum wage would be fine, but I don't want to just work at a convenience store.
What is okay? I'll just ask it. What is your source of income? Like,
It's
you don't have to say it if you don't want to. You can just tell me later. But
a family job. Like, or no, we don't like own a business. It's just my mom works, and we also have Social Security.
yeah. Coming up, I don't know how we'll just talk about this, but coming up, I've been working since I was like 14. Like I
Oh,
had,
shit.
I worked in a warehouse for a long time where I did a
Mhm.
lot of like back breaking labor. Like I did,
Uh-huh.
I worked in a appliance warehouse, so it was just bought and restored appliances. We'd fix them, we'd wash them, and we'd sell them. That was our job. That was
All
our
right.
3 simple things we had to do: get them, fix them, wash them, sell them. 4 things actually.
All right.
4
Hey,
things. That
what are you gonna say? Because I want everyone to ask questions.
Oh, sorry. Fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah, my bad. Okay. Yeah, questions. No, hit me with the questions. We can talk
But
about
hey,
old stories later.
Funky, new member in this server. You got a question?
This is
Or,
Funky Thought.
Yes, he's a thought. I bet.
Yes,
but,
he is a thought.
I mean, if he doesn't have anything to ask, we could have fucking Manuel.
We can have Manuel.
Yeah,
Hit me
Manuel.
with your shit, bro.
All right, I guess. I mean, you know
Speaketh.
what?
Speaketh to me in a language of which I understand.
Come on, Manuel. I can't
say
Al fin
words.
puedo hablar con otra persona que hable español.
Pues sí lo hablo, pero no lo hablo tan bien. Porque siempre estoy
ok.
hablando en inglés aquí. So, tú sabes
Ok.
cómo es.
Eso se entiende, eso se entiende. That's
Sí, sí
understandable.
te voy a poder entender, pero el problema es que no lo puedo hablar tan bien. Ese es el
God, I
problema.
should have a podcast episode where I interview like all of my Latin friends.
Well, it's
Oh,
like
you're
what I was
gonna-
telling Manuel here. It's just my Spanish isn't as good as my English because although I did learn Spanish first, I've just been here for so long that and I speak English so much that my Spanish has gone weaker by comparison. Like I understand what he's telling me, but I'll have trouble communicating it back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Totally
Okay.
understandable. That's totally understandable. Don't
like si me llamas un pinche pendejo, si ves, I'll know what you're saying. Trust me.
All right.
worry.
But hey, Manuel, what? Show everyone your Joker impression.
all right.
Tell us how much of a society we live in.
Okay, let me just. We live in a society because I'm the Joker, baby.
Wow, that is. Oh my god, fucking! I hate Melvin, my stupid brother of me.
You ever seen that one YouTube? H3 did a video on them a while back, but
He did a video on Melvin, brother of the Joker.
no, he did a video on like this guy who just acts like he just acts like the Joker. I let me see if I can find the video.
Wait,
like,
is he on YouTube? And
it's
does
like
he have
Mr. Joker or something like that. Like that's the name.
Is his YouTube videos very low quality?
Yes, incredibly
A message
low
to
quality.
Batman.
A message. Yeah, that guy.
I heard about him from Derek.
Yeah.
Salty DK Dan. Thank you.
Fucking Derek.
Yeah.
Oh
You're a
wait,
bitch,
no, that
Batman.
was Salty DK. Yeah, that was fucking Salty Dick Dan. Yeah. Ugh.
But wait, I thought he was Hispanic. Yeah.
Salty Dick Dan. I don't know.
No,
Sounds like a white boy to me.
H3 he.
No, fucking H3's he's from well, number one, I think he's American, but as far as I know, he's from Jewish descent, which is normally Israeli or Israeli.
All right. But hey,
so he's not,
but hey,
yeah,
I think
he's American.
I think we're reaching the end of the podcast, but I want to ask
Are we
one more
really?
question. I think so. I think we're running out of stuff to talk about.
I mean, shit. I mean, there's so many things that we've left that I could still. I got a lot more to talk about. I don't know what you mean.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I really do. There's a lot when it comes to mental health, man. Like, I feel like we just started.
Oh my god, this podcast is probably gonna have a part 2 by the time we record all this shit.
Maybe, because I mean, like, no, I don't want to insult you, but we went off trail so many times that there's so many things I want to go back to and finish. Because, like,
well, then let's finish them.
Okay, let's get to it then. Stop
So-
wasting my goddamn time. I'm just kidding.
But what? Okay, so what's the first thing that you went off on but you didn't finish?
Number one, when it comes to handling stress, people tend to there's several ways to handle your stress, but the two most well known and always rounding up to these two to the two most popular ways is you can handle it by having a problem solving strategy to solving your stress. And this is typically seen with older, more experienced people. They'll tend to see the stress, a stress will come onto them, and instead of just putting it aside, they'll either have a solution or use different experiences to come up with a solution to this problem. They won't just cope with it. They will deal with it. They will have something in their mind mentally prepared, or something that they can prepare for so they can deal with the situation. They'll have a better attitude towards a stressful situation compared to people who are younger. For people who are younger, they typically have a coping attitude towards dealing with your stress, which is typically just they'll handle it with their emotion instead of handling it with their reason. So
I just want to
they'll get angry about it.
I just want to find out why I'm stressed, because if I find out why, then I can figure out a way to get over it. It'll be easy for me to get over something that I understand. Yeah, fucking destroy the stress with facts and logic, am I right?
Well, it isn't just that. It's more when you're dealing with your stress, it isn't just throwing any solution at it until it works. It's more, as you mentioned, trying to figure out what exactly the problem is so you can find a solution for it. Because what a lot of people do, especially when they're younger, is they'll typically find a stressful situation and they'll deal with it in the moment with an emotional response. Like, they'll get angry, they'll get sad, they'll get this or that about it. And then what they do the worst is that they'll put it off. They'll cope with it. They'll just deal with it, and they'll store it around for later until they're able to solve the problem, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The problem is when you never deal with the situation. Suddenly you're in your fucking 40s and you got daddy issues. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem. And
a fucking cycle that I deal with. It's not fun. It's very bad.
So let's try to figure out where exactly the stress with you comes from. What stresses you out the most? What's got you
I'd rather keep that a personal conversation. But
we can always talk about this later. Like, this.
Yeah, but like, what's the other thing that you want to finish off?
Other thing I want to finish off.
We went on to talking about like autism in school.
Autism in school and my come up and how I got interested in it. It was right before Emmanuel came in. What was I talking about? It was fucking coping mechanisms that I dealt with that. The psychology of things. I just remembered something really important I want to talk about.
What in the butt?
When it comes to psychology, as I mentioned earlier, it's still a relatively new concept and people are still trying to get behind the psychology thing. But one thing that a lot of people have a problem with when it comes to psychology is that they don't understand it, so they'll think it's dumb. And that is a huge problem that a lot of people face, including in this new generation. Like, people think it's gone away. No, it still happens. And it mostly comes from the fact that by human nature, we don't like the things we don't understand. And we try to make sense of the things that we don't understand. That is how our mind works. We're always trying to figure something out. And when we can't figure something out, or we lack the ability to figure something out, or we just don't have enough of the knowledge to figure it out, we'll start to dislike it. We'll be put off by it. So, and there's a lot of foreign powers that can take that give that mindset to somebody, like
Mm-hmm.
old generation people that used to think that if psychology was stupid and that mental health was stupid and that you should just work in your cornfields until it goes away, those problems. And so there'll be a lot of people who are like, oh, I have severe problems, but talking about it is stupid, so I'm just gonna deal with it until it goes away. And psychology is stupid. Why would I pay hundreds of dollars to see a therapist when I could just fucking play Fortnite, eat hot chips, and cry, things like that.
Yes.
And that's a huge problem that a lot of people have these days. Is they'll typically see and act with mental health the absolute wrong way. They won't give it a direct chance. They'll already have an idea of what it is.
Oh, I'm just
before they
overthinking
even
it. Oh,
think
I
of
don't want
going
to.
into it.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah.
overthinking it. Oh, I just don't want my friends to get into trouble.
I've
oh,
had so
oh,
many
oh, oh,
people in my life who tell me like, "Oh, therapy is bullshit. Psychology is bullshit." You know why? Because I saw a therapist like once, and that was it. And people think you can just go to a therapist and they're just gonna solve your problems the second you walk
Have
through
you
the
ever
fucking
seen
door.
that?
That's not how it works.
Have you ever seen that whole movies episode about therapy?
No, actually, no.
It was actually
I-
it was actually about a therapist who gave them all the wrong advice.
Oh,
and the
yeah,
episode,
I saw that one. Yes,
And
he
the
is a
episode-
perfect example of a shitty therapist.
yeah, and the episode ended with fucking the two characters
Therapy
actually being honest.
sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the actual therapy
And they
that
felt
happened.
better than they actually had. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's a huge problem. Is that there's a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people out there who there's a lot of bad therapists out there. Don't get me wrong. Like
Uh-huh.
I've had plenty of bad therapists. Finding
Uh-huh.
a good therapist it's like finding a good doctor. You just got to keep trying until you find it. But the problem is a lot of people won't give therapy a chance already. They'll already have a preconceived mindset of it, which if you already have a negative mindset about something, or you already have a negative concept about something, it's going to be negative. It's very
Uh-huh.
hard to change that about you, because once again, people don't like to be wrong. Even if it's subconscious, people don't like to be wrong. So
Also, speaking of not liking to be wrong, Helga on the couch of the Hey Arnold episode.
yeah, that's a beautiful episode.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
am I
that
getting
was a good
picked up
shit.
here?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Okay.
Oh, and like I've met so many people who are just like, oh, I tried therapy but it didn't work out. And I'm like, well, the thing about therapy is it requires more than just the therapist putting in their best effort. It's like a relationship. It requires your best effort from both parties. It isn't just it isn't just you're gonna meet somebody who's gonna solve all your problems. No, you need to put your effort behind it, because if you don't, then you're going to have a quote unquote bad time in therapy. That's how it happens. You're not going to open up, like when you my best recommendations, if you don't get therapy but you want to, when you see a therapist, keep in mind that they're trying to help you. Their methods may seem a little weird, but they're trying to help you. They're not just trying to get your money. Which
I guess
don't get me started on therapy and the insurance industry in this country. That's
I
a
just
completely different topic.
I just gotta say that I guess I'm lucky to have a therapist that was actually my friend. I've known him since high school.
If your therapist truly cares about you, you have a good therapist, and you need to keep that in mind, because once they go beyond like just being essentially your doctor, then that's somebody you got to keep around as long as you can, because that's when they've truly cared about you. And that's the problem, is a lot of people will go see a therapist and they'll think that they'll just get that from the get-go. Mental health and the treatment of mental health is a slow process. It is a slow process that requires all effort, your best effort from both sides. Everybody needs to be understanding. Everybody needs to be as open as they possibly can be, because if they're not, then you're not going to solve your problems, because your problems are deep rooted in your mind, in your psyche. And if you're afraid to go there and your therapist can't get you to go there, then you're both failing. It's as simple as that. There's plenty of blame to go around when it comes to therapy.
I just want to say that I'm thinking about a thumbnail for the video right now, and I am just giggling inside because I love the idea. It's like a parody of the Lucy Van Pelt fucking therapist stand, but it's instead a taco stand too.
That'd be great, actually. That was actually what I was considering. If I've always wanted to do like a mental health podcast, and my title for it was Back Alley Therapy.
Back alley therapy.
Back Alley Therapy. Just
What if
because
he gave
it's
it like a Spanish name or something? I don't know.
I don't. Well, I mean, as much as I do like my culture, it's not my whole person.
That
know?
is fair. I'm sorry. It's
So
just,
I don't
guess
really. I could if I wanted to. It would be clever, but at the same time, I love the idea. I've been called a back alley therapist before, just because it's like, obviously I don't get paid for this, and I
man.
will typically try to help people with their problems without expecting anything in return, just because I
All right.
don't like to be like that way. And it comes from the fact of the issue I have with the insurance, with how therapy is run here in America. That's
Mhm.
typically where it comes from. So that's why I've been referred to as like the back alley therapist. Just
Make
because
that
I don't shit.
podcast. Honestly, make that
Honestly,
podcast.
maybe
like,
even rename my whole channel fucking backyard to fucking back alley therapy.
call yourself Poyo, the back alley therapist, but like
The backyard
have
the back alley therapist.
yeah, just make your podcast Back Alley Therapist and still name your channel Poyo something. Why is my dog fucking borking?
Just and I figured it would just my fantasization is just every week I'd have somebody come on and we just talk about mental health stuff. And
Honestly,
my dream is to have people who like actual therapists and actual mental health teachers.
I mean, there are people in my server that definitely need some love and some talking. So feel free to hit them up.
Yeah, like what the guy I saw in Vent. I don't want to name names, but the guy I saw in Vent. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Vent channel. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's good to vent. I'm not criticizing your vent channel. It's just I've seen a lot of people who
All
do
right.
need a
That's fair.
certain talking to. And I know that sounds weird. I don't mean okay, fuck, that sounded wrong. I meant more
You're
than
not stalking anyone. It's just you've seen
Yes, I
people
am.
talk.
No, just kidding. Well, yeah, you're just jumping to a conclusion. No, just
Listen,
kidding. No, it's
when
more-
you're in a back alley, you see everything.
Yeah, I see all. I am an all-seeing
Yeah.
eye. I am a god.
Is there
No, just kidding.
what else do you want to finish up on?
Well, honestly, I'm pretty satisfied with getting to those points.
Okay.
Because those were things I really wanted to bring up. We could always bring. So if you'll have me, we could always talk more. Like I have more to talk about.
All right.
You know,
I say wait until I join your podcast. What?
Sounds
What?
like a lot of work.
No. We can help you out here. It's not that much.
Man,
It's not that much work, actually.
don't make me do stuff.
Well, too
I'm
bad.
so
I'm
lazy.
I'm gonna make you do stuff, man.
Man, don't be a good influence on my life, piece of shit. Don't be a positive on my life, you whore.
Well, screw you. I'm gonna do it.
How dare
Jesus
you?
Christ.
How dare you make me?
Yeah, sorry. A family's been active outside, but I think this is a good time to.
Uh,
I think this is a good time to end it here.
Yeah, this has gone a bit for a while.
Over 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Hey, I'm hoping that the next one we can be a little more
Lackadaisical.
Yeah, sure.
Relax.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
I don't even know what that word means.
I meant more. I hope next one we can be a little more focused on mental health.
All right.
Not that this one was bad. It's just I feel like
we've-
a lot of people are gonna come in for mental health, and a lot of it is just talking.
That's why I'm gonna have an.
But
intro
I mean,
at the I'm gonna have an intro at the
podcast.
beginning of the podcast and what we talk about and shit like that. So
Yeah.
So hopefully it won't just be throwing you out there with hey, look at this random guy I know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you can introduce me as the
An
god of
up-and-coming
everybody.
user.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, let's put it like that.
An up-and-coming god of everyone.
The up-and-coming god of everybody. Yeah, the back alley therapist. Yeah.
Yeah.
The back.
He was there when we needed him the most, but we didn't listen. But now he's here and he's coming.
I'm coming. All right.
Ew. Anyway, yeah. I'm gonna end it here. But
Okay.
Thanks for being on with me, man.
Yep. No
And
problem, man.
take care, everyone, and stay salty.
All right. Don't tell me what to do.